You know, there's a specific kind of exhaustion that I think almost everyone listening can relate to.
Hmm.
It's not just that physical, I need a nap tired. It's that deep, uh, bone-weary feeling that comes from trying to force a door open that just stays shut. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. It's the battering ram approach to life.
Exactly. The battering ram, we're taught, I mean, we're conditioned, really, that if a door is locked, whether that's a promotion or a bank account that won't go up, you just have to hit it harder.
More hours, more emails.
More stress, more caffeine. But today, we're looking at a source that essentially says, put the battering ram down. You are holding the wrong tool.
It's a radical pivot, isn't it? We're doing a deep dive today into the work of Florence Scovel Shinn, specifically focusing on this concept she calls the nighttime decree.
Right.
And the core premise is startlingly simple,
Mhm.
almost dangerously simple for our skeptical modern brains.
Mhm.
She asks, what if the hardest things in your life could be solved, not by what you do in the 16 hours you're awake, but by a single sentence you speak right before you fall asleep?
See, that sounds like a magic trick. It really does. It sounds like one of those late-night infomercial promises.
It does.
But Shin isn't really talking about magic, is she? As I was reading through this, she talks about it almost like it's a piece of machinery, like we're operating a crane or, I don't know, a computer.
That is the perfect way to frame it. She views the mind as a mechanism with two very distinct gears.
Okay.
And she argues that the world's way, the grind, the hustle, the struggle, is basically trying to operate the machine backward. She introduces this idea of spiritual law, which suggests that transformation doesn't need a calendar.
Right. It doesn't need a 5-year plan.
No, it doesn't need a decade of climbing the corporate ladder. It happens in what she calls the sacred moment of the night.
I love that phrase, the sacred moment of the night. It's so poetic, but let's get into the mechanics here because I don't want us to just float around and evade positivity. We need to understand why the night is the leverage point. Why can't I just say my affirmations in the car on the way to work? I mean, I'm awake then, I'm focused. Why does she insist on the moment of sleep?
Because when you're driving to work, you are fighting a very strong opponent.
Okay.
Shin distinguishes between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Think of your conscious mind, the one you and I are using right now, as a very strict, skeptical, high-priced lawyer.
Ah, I like that.
It's logical. It's analytical. It demands evidence.
Right. So if I'm driving my beat-up car to a job I hate and I say, I am wealthy and successful, my conscious mind just looks around and goes, objection? No, you're not. Look at the check engine light.
Precisely. It filters everything through your current reality. It blocks the new data because it contradicts the old data. It says, I don't see the money, so the statement is false. But, and this is the crux of this entire deep dive, when you go to sleep, the lawyer goes home.
Ah.
The conscious mind retires, and that leaves the subconscious mind wide open. Shin describes the sleeping mind as virgin terrain or an invisible altar.
An invisible altar. That's a heavy image. It implies that whatever you put there is going to be, well, worshipped or at least acted upon.
It implies reverence, yeah, but also pure function. The subconscious doesn't judge. It doesn't have a sense of humor. It doesn't know a lie from the truth. It is simply a factory floor that builds whatever blueprint you hand it.
So wait.
If you hand it a blueprint of worry right before you sleep, which most of us do, it builds anxiety. If you hand it a blueprint of success, it starts building that.
So essentially, when we lie in bed replaying our awkward conversations or stressing about the mortgage, we aren't just thinking, we are actually giving the factory orders to manufacture more of that for tomorrow.
You are programming the machine to jam. Shin uses this metaphor of the lock and the key.
Okay.
Life's problems, silent clients, debt, loneliness, those are the locks. We usually try to pick them with worry or force.
Yeah.
But the key is the spoken word.
And you have to turn that key when the gatekeeper, the conscious mind, is asleep.
That's the trick.
Okay, so we have the when right before sleep and the where, the subconscious. Now we need the what. Because the source material is very specific that this isn't about wishing. It's not about just thinking, gee, it'd be nice if I got a raise.
No. And this is where most people get it wrong. You are not asking. You are not begging. Shin is crystal clear. Begging implies lack.
No, that's interesting.
If you beg for money, you are affirming that you don't have it. You're reinforcing the poverty. The method requires a decree. It's a command.
Command. That feels a little arrogant, maybe, to command the universe.
It feels arrogant to the conscious mind. The lawyer thinks it's arrogant. But To the subconscious, it's just a clear instruction. It's like typing code into a terminal. You don't say, please run this code if you feel like it.
You just hit enter.
You hit enter. The source says you must seal the decree with confident rest. You speak the word, and then you check out. You don't lay there wondering how it's going to happen.
That's the hard part, though. The how is what keeps me up at night. I'm trying to solve the puzzle before I even fall asleep.
And that's the trap. The how is the domain of the conscious mind. The what is the domain of the decree. Now, before we get to the specific phrases that work, we have to talk about the ones that don't. Because Shin gives us a list of what we could call broken keys. And I absolutely guarantee everyone listening uses these every single day.
Oh, I felt so called out reading this section. Hit me with them. What are we saying that's jamming the lock?
Okay, the big ones are difficult, maybe, if possible, and the most dangerous one of all, I hope.
Well, wait, I hope. We're always told hope is a virtue, keep hope alive. Why on earth is hope a broken key?
In this specific mechanical context of the subconscious, hope is a delay tactic. Think about it. If you say, I hope this deal goes through, what are you actually telling your subconscious?
That it might not.
Exactly. You're telling it the outcome is uncertain. You are baking anxiety into the equation. You are validating the possibility of failure.
That makes so much sense, actually. Hope admits that no is an option. If I say, I hope I catch the bus, it means I might miss it.
Correct. And maybe builds doubt. One day is another killer. If you say, one day I'll be successful, the subconscious, which operates in the eternal, just says, okay, we'll keep pushing it to one day.
It never arrives.
It's always on the horizon.
So by saying this is difficult, I'm basically programming my brain to make it difficult. I'm handing the factory a blueprint that says, make this hard to build.
Exactly. You are codifying the struggle. The source says the subconscious accepts difficulty as a law if you tell it to.
Yeah.
But thankfully, there are sharpened keys.
Okay, let's have them. What are the words that actually turn the lock?
Shin gives us these power words. Now, ordained, completed, under grace, and perfect time.
Completed is a bold one to say when you're staring at an empty bank account.
It is, but that's the hack. When you say completed, spiritual law works backward. It starts from the end result, the finished state, and then it rearranges the present to get you there.
And now. Now seems crucial.
It's everything. Shin claims that when you use now with authority, you're commanding immediate movement.
And when she says immediate, she's not talking metaphorically, right? I mean, the source material has some pretty aggressive timeline.
Very aggressive. She claims that when the law is activated correctly, right word, right time, right authority, the demonstration, the result, begins in 24 to 72 hours.
72 hours. That's a 3-day turnaround. Most corporate strategies don't even get a response to an email in 3 days.
And that's why we need to look at the case studies. Because it's easy to talk theory, but Shin provides these examples where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
And my favorite one is the saleswoman, because it's just so relatable to anyone in business.
The woman who is doing everything right.
Exactly. The model employee. Sending dozens of emails, making cold calls, chasing leads for months.
Yep.
And the result?
Nothing.
Zero. She was exhausted. She was broke. She was discouraged. This is the world's way. Maximum effort, minimum result.
This was grinding. She was doing what every productivity guru tells you to do.
Grinding herself into the dust. So she stopped. She switched to the spiritual law. For 3 nights, right before sleep, she stated, the right doors open for me now, under grace.
Note the phrasing.
Yes. Not, I hope I get a sale, but the right doors open now.
And she didn't send more emails during those 3 days. She didn't just double down on the hustle.
The source implies she just held her ground. She didn't beg, she declared and slept.
Oh.
On the morning of the 4th day, a client who had been ignoring her for months, actively ghosted her.
Wow.
Requested an urgent meeting. The contract was signed in 48 hours.
So the external strategy didn't change. She didn't write a better email subject line. The key changed.
Precisely. And Shin would say the client didn't change their mind randomly. The client responded to the shift in her subconscious. The blockage was never in the client's inbox. It was in her expectation and struggle.
There's another case that deals with something even more rigid than a client. Bureaucracy. The blocked bank account.
Oh, we've all been there. You're on hold with customer service. They tell you it's processing. It's not released yet. You feel totally powerless.
It's the worst feeling. You just want to throw the phone.
Right. And that feeling of powerlessness is what this man was taking to bed every night. He was seething. But that anger was just commanding his subconscious to keep the funds frozen.
I am blocked becomes the instruction.
That's it. So what did he do? He changed the decree. He said, every lock loosens, every blockage dissolves. My path is free. He did this for 3 nights.
And the bank called him.
The bank called. They said a system error had been found and corrected, and the funds were released. Now, the skeptic says, well, the bank just found a glitch.
Sure.
But Shin asks, why did they find the glitch then? Why not a month earlier?
It's the timing. It's the synchronization. From the source's perspective, the system error was just the physical manifestation of his internal blockage.
Yes. Once he dissolved the internal blockage with the word, the external reality had to reshape itself to match. The bank called it a glitch. Shin calls it the law.
There's one more case that I think is really important because it deals with a hard no. The business deal that was dead in the water. This one feels different because it's about influencing another person's decision, not just a banking computer.
This is powerful. It deals with changing the will of others, or maybe the alignment of circumstances. A woman had a partner who gave a final no to a deal. It was over. Door shut. But for 1 week, she declared, the no turns into a yes under divine order.
She did it for a whole week, so it wasn't instant like the others.
Persistence is key here.
Yeah.
She didn't try it once and say, well, it didn't work. She hammered the rock. On the 8th day, the partner called.
No way!
Said circumstances had changed. I believe some new information came to light, and the decision was reversed.
It's interesting she said under divine order. She wasn't saying, I'm going to manipulate this guy into saying yes.
That's a crucial distinction. Under grace, or under divine order, is the safety valve in Shin's teachings. It means, if this is right for me, it removes the desperation, the manipulation. You aren't forcing your will on someone. You are aligning the situation with the best possible outcome.
So if we zoom out, this is asking for a pretty major identity shift. It's not just about getting the money or the deal. It's about who you think you are in the universe. The source calls it the difference between the beggar and the governor.
This is the core philosophy.
Yeah.
Most of us live as the beggar. And I don't just mean financially, I mean energetically.
Right.
The beggar knocks on doors. The beggar waits for permission. The beggar goes to sleep worrying, will they like me? Will it work out?
And beggar is reactive. The beggar is asking the world to be nice to them.
Yes. And the consequence, according to the source, is terrifying. The source says if you decree anxiety at night, you create a trail for the next day to follow. You are literally paving the road of scarcity that you have to walk on tomorrow.
So you wake up and the road is bumpy because you built it that way the night before.
You did. That's a heavy thought, isn't it? That my worry tonight is constructing my bad day tomorrow.
It is. But the new self, the governor, that's different.
The governor of keys. This identity doesn't ask, who am I to open this? The governor knows the law obeys authority. They use the night as a spiritual sowing field. They don't sleep to escape the day. They sleep to create the next one.
And there's a specific reference in the source that gives this authority some weight. It mentions Isaiah 22.22.
Yes. The key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder. The interpretation here is profound. In metaphysical terms, the hand represents human effort struggle, gripping. You use your hands to force things. But the shoulder represents spiritual responsibility and authority. If I carry something on my shoulder, I'm bearing it with ease. The authority rests on your command, not on your effort.
I want to get to Florence Scovel Shin's ultimate example, the story that really anchors this whole concept, because I think some listeners might be thinking, well, it's easy to be positive if you have a safety net.
Right.
But this story is about someone who had hit absolute rock bottom.
This is the story of the destitute woman. And you're right, she had no net. She'd hit the pavement, lost her home, her job, her money. She was sleeping on a friend's sofa. And she came to Florence and said the one thing we all say when we're desperate, I have tried everything.
And Florence, in her classic style, basically said, no, you haven't.
Exactly. She told her, you have tried everything except the right key. She diagnosed the problem immediately. The woman was still begging God, still battering the door like a beggar. She was frantic, not commanding.
So what was the key Florence gave her?
It was simple, direct. The doors of divine provision open for me now.
The doors of divine provision open for me now.
That was it. Florence told her to say it before sleep. And the source notes something very real here. The woman felt resistance the first night. Her mind called it crazy. She's on a lumpy sofa, broke, saying doors are opening.
It feels like a lie to the conscious mind.
It does.
Yeah.
That's the gatekeeper again. That's the lawyer screaming, objection. But she persisted. She overrode the lawyer. By the third night, she spoke with authority. And here's the miracle. On the fourth day, a distant acquaintance, someone she hadn't spoken to in ages, felt an inexplicable urge to call her.
An inexplicable urge.
This person offered her a temporary job, an advance payment, and leads-on housing. In 72 hours, she went from homeless on a sofa to employed and housed.
And the crucial point is that she didn't call that acquaintance. She didn't network her way into that job.
No. She stopped battering the door and simply turned the key. The source says she stopped forcing and started flowing. The external action, the job offer, was a result of the internal shift, not the cause of it.
It really forces you to look at your own bedtime routine differently. I mean, usually I'm scrolling through doom and gloom on my phone, or I'm checking work email one last time to spike my cortisol.
And that is exactly what the source is warning against. If the night is a sacred moment, most of us are desecrating it. We are planting weeds, worry, fear, regret, and then we're surprised when our garden is full of thorns the next morning.
So if we step back, the source isn't saying quit your job and just sleep. I want to be really clear about that.
No, and that's so important to clarify. It's not about passivity. It's about the quality of your action. It's about stopping the forcing. It's recognizing that effort creates fatigue, but words create invisible movement. You still walk through the door when it opens. You take the meeting, you sign the contract, but you don't have to kick it down. You unlock it first.
It's working smarter, not harder, but on a spiritual level.
Precisely. It challenges you, the listener, to ask, who are you before you sleep? Are you the worrier, replaying the tapes of what went wrong?
Yeah.
Or are you the commander, setting the coordinates for where you want to go?
That brings us to the challenge for our listeners tonight. The source gives us a very specific tool, and I think we should share it. If you're feeling stuck, if you're banging your head against a wall, try the key.
The phrase is, the doors of divine provision open for me now under grace.
The doors of divine provision open for me now under grace. It's worth a shot, right? I mean, when I look at the alternative, another night of worrying about things I can't control, I think I'd rather try the key.
Absolutely. And remember the timeline. Give it the 72 hours. See what shifts. Not just in your bank account, but in your energy.
There is a closing thought from the source that I think is the perfect way to wrap this all up. It says, you don't need more time, you need a word.
The only difference between a locked door and an open one is whether you use the key that's already in your mouth.
That is a powerful image. The key is already there. You just have to speak it.
Indeed. And then, most importantly, go to sleep.
Seal it with a rest. Thank you so much for exploring this with us. It's definitely given me something to think about and say tonight.
My pleasure. Sweet dreams.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.